the problem that we get into when we express non-duality, and I'm only just really beginning to understand the depth of this, is that a lot of people come into non-duality with already disbalanced personalities. In the East, they would spend many, many years balancing the personality before they came into non-duality, and I understand why that is now. Not that the East is all correct, because I don't think they have great psychological understanding of things, and they have this whole guru thing, so they've got issues in themselves. But yeah, I do think that non-duality can, to an extent, heal issues in personalities, but I think also it can exacerbate it, especially if you like really listen to really extreme, like neo non-duality, which I love, and I love to speak like neo non-duality, neo Advaita. I can't remember what it's called. I love to speak that. I love listening to it. But if you think about some of the things that are said, if you've got an extreme personality disorder, so personality disorder is something that is developed particularly in psychology, and they have different personalities and different criteria that people have to meet in the DSM. And I think that most people are on spectrums of personality disorders, but they wouldn't get diagnosed with it, but there's like a spectrum, there's like an element towards certain disorders. So you have different personality disorders, and then you have something like everything is empty. If you looked at something like BPD, borderline personality disorder, or narcissistic personality disorder, one core criteria is that they feel emptiness, but not in a positive way. It's in a very negative way. And they feel this chronic emptiness because in childhood, again, this is just my opinion, and I might be wrong about this, but in childhood they haven't had their personality reflected back to them enough, their wants, their needs, maybe not had it at all, and they struggled to develop a healthy ego or a healthy personality which has wants, which has needs, which can define itself from other people. And then if you go into non-duality, it's about breaking down the ego. And if you've already got this emptiness and no ego, and then you're breaking down the ego, and then you're hearing teachers say that emptiness part is positive, and they can totally relate to that. They totally don't know who they are or what they want or what they feel, but it's not the same thing. But to them, another thing that maybe BPT or MPD have is that they feel low self-esteem. So they listen to this subject and then they're like, oh yeah, I experience this emptiness, like I'm really close to enlightenment, and they think it's the same thing. I mean, in a way there is a quality, because the personality isn't true, so they can see that. But if you haven't got an established ego, you just can't really survive very well in this world. You're just going to create hell for yourself, not in a positive way. And you'll most probably use non-duality in a negative way as well, because it's kind of the tendency of that personality disorder, unless it's treated or known or understood and conceptualized. So this is just like one example of the difficulties with non-duality and personality disorder. And I'm only really beginning to conceptualize it. When I got into non-duality, I didn't know about I did know a little bit about personality disorders back then, but I didn't know so much, and I just totally fell in love with this subject. I just fell in love with, every time someone mentioned the now, my heart would sing, and I didn't really understand conceptually everything, but it was like I felt love. I felt like I knew it on the tip of my tongue. And